Hi everyone! I hope you're all well. I'm just gonna record a video for my literary magazine presentation because I think that's the easiest way to go about it for myself anyway. So basically for my literary magazine, I wrote about the magazine Rattle, mainly because I looked at a lot of different ones and this is the only one where poems really stood out to me in a way that I understood. Anyway, so I'm gonna read the poem I chose, and then I kind of wanted to focus more on that because I really liked this poem. It's called Let Me Go, She Said, by Jimmy Pappas, I think is how you say his last name. It's really great. Okay. Let me go, she said. Not because she wanted him to let her go. She wanted to stay on her bed. Not because she wanted him to remove his arms from around her. She wanted them to remain. Not because she wanted him to go away. She wanted him to be there. But because she wanted him to let her go, just not to go out the door, not to go away somewhere, not to travel to some far-off land, just to let her go. So she said, "Let me go," and he let her go. But he stayed, and he held her until she left. He set her head down and adjusted her hair, straightened out her legs, covered her body because she would not want people to see her. And he told me 2 years later how he let her go. He asked me, was it okay for me to let her go? And I said, oh yes, it was okay for you to let her go. He wanted to be sure, so he asked me again, are you sure? Because I want to let you know that I let her go. And I said again, oh, it's okay. Oh yes, it's okay. It's okay, really, it's okay, it's okay. So when I first read the poem, my interpretation of it was kind of very different because reading Oh, let me go, especially knowing that he's holding her, you think, okay, like, let me go. But it's not physically letting somebody go. It's her wanting him to metaphorically, like, spiritually let her go because she's no longer in a place of peace or health or anything like that. So my final interpretation is that this woman is in her deathbed and she can't leave until this man lets her go. And the ending of him searching for validation is just more about his guilt in letting this woman go, because you can tell that he loves her so much. He even goes to cover her up because he knows that alive she would not want people to see her like that. And I'm huge into emotional poetry, as I'm sure you guys can tell from my personal poems. So this one kind of spoke to me a lot in that aspect, and it's very simple to read. It's not, I'm huge into imagery and visuals in my poems, but this one inspires me to kind of go about it in a different avenue, to go about writing my poems, because it's simple, but it's such a complex idea, and it indirectly talks about its emotions. It doesn't directly say what's going on, it's up to interpretation, but you kind of, you feel what the poet is feeling, or what the narrator is feeling, and you feel what the man is feeling and what the woman is, and there's a lot of different characters in this poem, and you can feel all of them, if that makes sense, and you can understand them all. Stylistically, my favorite thing in poetry is when the punctuation is embedded in the stanzas, and that's the case in this one. I just think it makes a piece feel more cohesive because it's not broken by individual lines, if you know what I mean. And the introduction of the narrator in the last stanza just kind of puts a pack behind that emotional punch, if you know what I mean, because no longer are we just talking about this man and this woman. We also have the introduction of the narrator, the I character, which draws a connection between the reader and the narrator as well. So that just goes to show how emotional it is. And then you can't, unless you had a visual copy of this in front of you, you wouldn't notice this, but the Let Me Go, She Said is actually the title, and I thought it was very interesting how the title directly starts the poem. It's not just a title that encompasses the idea of the poem, it's a piece of it. It starts the poem. It's the first line, and I thought that was a very unique stylistic choice, and that inspires me to experiment more with the titles because I do think that they are very important to the poem. Anyway, thank you.